What's going on? My name is Captain McKay, and what you just saw was a Mythic Legions stop motion that I did in partnership with Big Bad Toy Store. So I thought it'd be interesting to show people who maybe are curious about stop motion, how did I go about doing this video? How did it come to be? What are some of the techniques I used as far as animation to make this happen? Should be a good time. We can go through all of it. As I did mention, this was done in collaboration with Big Bad Toy Store, so I do have to thank them at the top, but of course, you know, in every one of these videos, I always got to thank my lovely Patreon backers. My lovely... where? Oh, they're on this side today. Okay. My lovely Patreon backers. Yeah, look at them. A lot of them. Beautiful people. And of course, Big Bad Toy Store for sending me those couple of figures to use in this stop motion. The story went like this. I reached out to Big Bad at the end of last year, 2024, just to see like, hey, you know, you got any room for me to maybe do some animation for you, some projects, this and that, here and there. You know, we had a nice conversation, and they're like, well, you know, we'll keep you in mind for opportunities like that in the future. But in the meantime, they asked if I'd be interested in trying their content creator program. Now, that's basically what you see on people's social media when they get like the affiliate links and things like that. I'll have mine in the description of the video, so if you feel like shopping, by all means, you'd be helping me out. So I said, yeah, I'll give it a shot, sure. I don't know that I have the reach to be able to sustain it the way that you like, but they assured me that that wasn't going to be an issue, and if it doesn't meet what they want, then, you know, it's not going to affect my relationship with them in any way. So I said, yeah, sure, I'm in. I sent them a couple ideas for projects that I would like to do, and they selected the Mythic Legions idea that I had. So from there, it became just storyboarding something, putting something together, and just doing something that I think turned out really cool. And I can say that it got a great reaction from people in the Mythic Legions Cabal Facebook group and on Instagram and stuff. So I can say, if nothing else, at least the fans of the figures themselves are, you know, into the animation, and ultimately that's kind of what I wanted. So let's get right into it. I'm going to show some behind the scenes stuff, some animation that, you know, how it looked before it got edited, some how-to, some making of kind of stuff. It's all going to be in here. You're going to like it, I hope. All right, let's get rolling. Setting up a little trial thing happening before the figures from Big Bad arrive, but yeah, a little bit of some trees, some forests, some woods, some weird piece of elf architecture I made. I don't know how I feel about it, but it's not going to be on camera long. I think it'll be fine though, actually. Not bad. So this is the first figure that Big Bad Toy Store provided to use for this animation. This is Lee of the Elven Guard. I wasn't sure how to pronounce the name. I had to watch a Dork Lair video to see how he said it, and I'm just going to say it the same way he does. So, Lee. The reason I went with this one is because there are like different options as far as like the removable helmet. There's some different weapons and stuff you can use there. Plus, I like the color scheme, and he actually would be able to blend in pretty well with like some different figures that I already have in my own collection, such as this Diorama guard guy. And because I'm able to do some kind of cool, clever editing, I can make these guards look like there's way more than just the one of them that I have in my collection. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting this guy open, seeing what he's all about, and trying to come up with the best way to pull off some of the ideas I have for animation for him. And the second figure they sent over for this project is the War of the Aether Blade. This is the Orc Builder. Now there's two of these. There's a male and a female version. I got the male version. The thinking behind this was that I wanted to make it seem like this elf, like, village area, hideout, whatever you want to call it, was being attacked by a bunch of orcs. But I wanted to challenge myself and see if I could use different combinations of the same orc builder to make it look like there's several when there's really only just the one figure and all of his various parts and stuff. That will be challenging, but you know, what kind of guy would I be if I didn't challenge myself right out the gate with a project like this, right? Whatever. And as mentioned, I will be able to use figures in my own collection to supplement as like different characters and stuff in the background. I do have to make sure that they are currently in stock at Big Bad Toy Store, which the ones that I looked at already, they are currently in stock, so I'll have no problems there. But anyway, yeah, looking forward to getting these open and seeing how I can put something cool together. So here's Lee right out of the box as he appears. I put the helmet on him, which is really cool, so that just sits right over his face like that. Removable, very nice. I'll be able to use that in the stop motion. He has different hands too for gripping his weapons. He does have a bow and arrow, which is very nice. A little quiver of arrows, which is always cool to see. He has these two red straps for various different, you know, you can pretty much put these on the figure however you want to support and hold his weapons. He does have this orc head of his own if you're into like an alternate take on the character. I probably won't use that for the stop motion, but it is cool to have. And he does have a small little sword and a really nice, really angular detailed shield. So like I mentioned with the Orc army builder, Mythic Legions is pretty well known for having like a lot of swappable parts on their figures, and Lee J is no exception. He actually comes with like a completely different set of upper legs and upper arms if you want to have him in a more fully armored look. It also comes with like metal looking shoulder pauldron armor pieces, which these I'll probably use, but I think for the video I probably won't have him be fully armored up. I'll just want him to look kind of how he looks out of package, just, you know, because it's just easier for me to get into that way. Plus the armor might get in the way of some of the articulation just because it's bulkier. So this stuff is all great and I'll probably use it for my own personal collection, but as for the video itself, I'm gonna have them looking pretty standard out of package. Another thing, if you're not familiar with Mythic Legions, is the collector-friendly packaging. So even though I open mine up and everything, you can just slide the card right back into the plastic tray and you can put the figure right back in there if you prefer the way it looks displayed on package. And it's held into the package with these wire twist ties, which these will come in handy. So here's the Orc builder out of package, and you can see right now he's fairly plain. He's like got this long kind of like loincloth thing in front of him with like the bronze gloves and boots and this gigantic helmet. But you can also see that he has 4 completely separate head sculpts. You got a couple unmasked ones. This one with like the war paint on it, which I do like, and I think that's probably going to end up being like the final boss of this video. And then, you know, just a helmeted one. But in addition to all that, you get plenty of armor pieces too. So here you got a completely armored up torso, so he doesn't have to be bare chested. You can switch it out with that. And then he does have 2 sets of like shoulder pauldrons and a kind of a neck armor piece, which is great. And then a swap out like belt, like kind of upper thigh guard like he's got there. And there's another loincloth in the package too, so you can switch these however you like. Basically, no 2 orcs are going to look the same in this video, which was kind of my intention. I wanted to make it look like there was as many as possible while only using as few figures as possible. That way, when Big Bad provided me with one, you know, action figure, I could get as much use out of it as possible for this project, and I think that's definitely going to work. And in case anybody's worried about me not having enough weapons to make it look like it's a bunch of different orcs, I think we're covered. We don't have to worry. So here's what I mean, just with a couple of different little swaps of like different accessories, different head, weapon, you got a completely different looking figure here. So that's going to come in really nicely to be able to make it look like there's so many of these guys, all the different combinations and stuff. It's a really great idea. Mythic Legions is known for doing this, so if this is your thing, I would consider getting into the line if you're not already. In addition to having like the zip ties and everything that you can use, I actually really like Mythic Legions for animating because they have a lot of loose fitting like pieces, like little clothing. So you can see here I got like kind of the waist piece, like this thing that's hanging around like underneath his belt, all little straps. That's good for supporting the figure. You can get little pieces of the armor. And the cool thing about Legions is they all have these holes in the back too. So you might even be able to find a way to configure your animation rig and be able to just plug it right into one of these holes. So yeah, lots of options for animating Mythic Legions. And you know, apart from the tricks that, you know, I usually employ with things like the twist ties and whatever, all the straps and different bits of clothing and stuff on these figures make it pretty easy. Something else I use when I do a lot of these animations is the McFarlane figure stands that come with all of their DC figures. This one's a Mortal Kombat one. These have always worked really well across various different brands that I've tried them with. So if your character's feet aren't going to be in the shot, you can actually just use these as like a nice little workaround so you don't have to like hook them up to any of the rigs or any of the other equipment you're using. And I think this works pretty nicely. Just a little tip, as is usually the case with any of my animation, what you see from the camera's perspective is always like pretty decent, but then as soon as you go like just slightly over to the side, it just becomes like a dumping ground for everything. This is basically how I operate. I don't know if anybody else doing animation operates the same way. Sound off in the comments if you do, because I'd like to know like how organized are you, because I am very disorganized. Like, look at this. So I want to thank you for watching. That was basically kind of the gist of it. I mean, there was a lot of the same techniques that I've shown in previous videos on my channel, between the frames and that kind of stuff, but I thought this would kind of be a nice little video to, number one, just show people, hey, here's how this whole thing came together, and number two, just kind of give people like a rundown of what goes into a project like this. I think there's always people in comment sections, you know, for my stuff and for other people's animation, I always see asking like, hey, how did you do this? What's the technique you used for that? And honestly, sometimes that's hard to answer through just like typing a reply. So being able to point to a video like this and basically saying like, hey, go ahead, knock yourself out. It's all right here. Once again, got to thank Big Bad Toy Store for letting me collaborate with them on this video and letting me make this with them. I think, like I said, it turned out great. I would love to do more stuff like this down the road. Certainly, I want to revisit Mythic Legions and upcoming stop motion projects. I got a couple other ideas that I've jotted down that I think might end up being great little animations. So hey, I'm happy it resonated so much with Legions collectors, and I'm hopefully gonna be doing some more in the future. So yeah, stay tuned. Check back on the channel if you are not subscribed already, or follow my Instagram. I want to thank you once again for watching. My name is Captain McKay, and we'll catch you in the next one. Later on.